Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here. Welcome to the NBA playoff review and analysis for the April 14th games. Of course, this was day 2 of round 1. These were all the teams that did not play on the first day, of course. So yeah, every single series has a game under their belt. So we're going to talk about the games that went on. If you guys are enjoying this series, be sure to drop a like on this video so I know you are enjoying this, so I know to continue making this series, because I have a lot of fun doing it personally. But yeah, so the 4 series we had going on was Milwaukee, Detroit, Boston, Indiana, Houston, Utah, and Portland, and OKC. And let me say, for the most part, with the exception of one game, I was pretty entertained with all these games, man. There was some defensive, series out there, especially the Boston, Indiana one. And of course, James Harden going off, Damian Lillard going off, always a good time. But we are going to start with probably the, least important one of these series, Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons. And let me just say straight up, Giannis and the Bucks just completely had their way with this entire team out there. Giannis, 24 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists in only 23 minutes. He started the game by getting to the basket twice on Thon Maker, and Thon fouled him twice, and that was just the end of him. And then Thon, of course, was just throwing up bricks the entire night. And then you got George Hill. So George Hill, I thought he was washed up, but I mean, on the NBA season, guys, he actually is averaging like 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, which is decent backup point guard numbers. But I mean, the way he was playing like San Antonio Spur George Hill. Of course, the one that got traded to the draft rights of Kawhi Leonard. And then the rest of it was just really a team effort. Eric Bledsoe did his thing. Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez knocked down a few threes. The Pistons could not play any sort of defense whatsoever. This team was knocking down threes at will. Andre Drummond has a tough time stepping out and playing defense on those guys sometimes. And I mean, you got Pat Connaughton out there that dropped 10 points, 8 rebounds. Like, nobody's really expecting that. But this team was having fun, and the Pistons were embarrassing Piston fans. Now, I will say the one positive aspect of this game was Luke Kennard dropping 21 points. He's finally starting to show like those glimpses of why he was drafted where he was drafted at. I am seeing some good things out of him, but besides with the rest of the team, I think it's a wash. I'm not going to rant about them too much because if you want to see that, go on Twitter at KrispyFlakes2K, where I was saying some mean things about my favorite team. Now, Blake Griffin also is going to be out for the rest of the series. The good thing about that, though, is that it's smart to, get him nice and rested for the NBA Finals. Said no one ever. But yeah, no, Blake Griffin probably not going to return. Pistons going to get swept, and that's going to be the end of this. Bucks and Giannis, they move on. The next series we're going to talk about is the Boston Celtics and Indiana Pacers. So, I actually really did enjoy this game a lot. It's actually the combined lowest scoring game in the entire NBA season, 84-74. Looking like one of those like early 2000 grind fests out there in the Eastern Conference. But I find enjoyment in that. Now, I will say, the first half belonged to the Indiana Pacers. Like, I thought this team was really coming out as a well-oiled machine. They're just playing nice on offense. Wesley Matthews was knocking down a few shots. And the Boston Celtics, they just seem to lack energy, which I think they get a lot of energy at times from Marcus Smart. And I was like, wow, this team is really going to miss him. But, once the second half came around, Jason Tatum started turning up a little bit. Kyrie Irving got going with some big shots. And then Marcus Morris really was the X factor of this entire game. Like, once Marcus Morris came into the game, he was giving them a beacon consistency on offense that really carried them into the second half. And let me just say this real quick. That left side of the hoop, if you're watching the TV, see the left side of the hoop, that thing was like as tight as one of those triple rim no net hoops you see at the park, man. Like the ones where you have to get nothing but net to even have a chance of making. If it touches any little area of that rim, it's going to bounce out. Like, nobody was making shots on that first half or second half. The Indiana Pacers, look, check that out, man. 8 points in the third quarter, 21 in the fourth, which isn't too bad, but yeah, 8 in the third. They just could not get things going whatsoever. And you look at the stat lines like that, it's just nothing but struggle for everybody out there. Sabonis was pretty much locked up. Pretty silent night from Bogdanovic, Corey Joseph. He had a few big shots out there, but overall, man, just kind of not the greatest performance at all. So, yeah, while the Celtics side, we kind of talked about them already, but I was entertained by this game. I thought it was pretty fun to watch. So no huge complaints for me. Now as far as like game 2, we going into that. I still think Boston probably wins, but we'll see, because the Pacers, they had one hell of a bad night, so you can't expect that from them all the time. But at the same time, man, like, I love Al Horford, I love his defense. Like, he was playing some of that NBA 2K19 Hall of Fame defense out there, guys. It was pretty good. Next up, let's look at the Portland Trail Blazers and OKC Thunder, man. And I will say, there are 4 guaranteed things in life: death, taxes, playoff Kyle Lowry, and playoff P. Paul George, Yeah, on paper, 26, 10, and 4 is nice. He played a bit better in the second half. But overall, man, Paul George was playing like playoff P. And that was the guy last year, of course, called himself playoff P. I think they got swept or something like that. They didn't play very good. Let me just say that straight up, man. So, yeah, Paul George, in this first game, not all that great. Good stat line, not good overall efficiency. Let's actually check out his plus minus real quick here, as he just fouled out too. He had a 0 plus minus, so I mean, yeah, it's whatever. But 43 minutes, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 turnovers. Now you can say this though, despite the Thunder losing 104-99, like the team was not very efficient out there, and they only lost by 5 points. I think that's something to be happy about. Russell Westbrook did get the triple-double out there, 24, 10, and 10. Now, I'm actually very curious, though, to see Russell Westbrook's mindset going into the next game. Like, if they stick to the game plan and kind of run the ball through Paul George, or if Russell's like, okay, enough of this, I'm going to take over, we need to get a Game 2 victory, and he just goes for 50 points. Like, I totally could see Russell Westbrook trying that tactic, and it potentially backfiring in his face. Steven Adams, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals. Decent numbers for him, although Enes Kanter did kind of get the better of the stash bros out there. And then, of course, like the bench help and some of the other role players, it wasn't too impressive. Dennis Schroeder could not buy a basket, man. Over 7 for 3. Jeremy Grant just was kind of, he had some good defense out there, but that's about it, man. The rest of everybody else just kind of irrelevant. Like Markieff Morris should have switched his jersey with his brother Marcus Morris, and they would have been good to go. Now you look over here at the Trailblazers, and Damian Lillard, this guy's got some crazy range. Like, he is adding it to his game. Him and CJ McCollum really, man, just carried the team from the backcourt standpoint. Although, I was a little nervous about CJ McCollum because he was coming off that injury. So I was like, yo, is it going to take him some time to really get back in the flow of the thing? Especially just playing like the last few games of the NBA season. That's a lot different than actual playoff time. But no, he was ready to go. This whole team was ready to go. But of course, the biggest X factor of everything was Enes Kanter, 20 points, 18 rebounds. He started the first quarter with 8 points, 8 rebounds. I was like, yo, this man is getting going. And he just looked like a man on a mission. He looked like a guy that was kind of hurt that he was not utilized by the OKC Thunder when he played there. A lot of the times, he went out there and he was not able to play because of the defensive liabilities. But I thought he did okay out there. I was pretty impressed by Enes Kanter. And if he's playing like this, man, this Trailblazers team is going to be a very, very tough outing in the NBA playoffs. I mean, I will say, if you get a 20 and 18 Enes Kanter on a daily basis with the combination of the backcourt, I will say this team gets to the Western Conference Finals, no doubt. Now, could they beat the Warriors? I don't know about all that, but it was definitely a fun team to watch. So props to them, 104-99 victory. Going into Game 2, what am I expecting? I'm expecting Russell Westbrook to try to do a bit too much out there, but if they go to their original game plan, I don't see Paul George, playing the MVP season he is, having this type of bad game again. So I could see the Thunder winning the next one, assuming Enes Kanter does not play like that. And the final game of the night was the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. Now, the Utah Jazz are supposed to be known for like their defense, and I don't know what the hell their game plan was on James Harden, because James Harden was pretty much doing a lot of things at ease. Finishing with 29 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. Now, you will say 11 for 26 shooting, not the most efficient numbers. Didn't get to the free throw line nearly as much as he does, but I just, defensively, offensively, I felt like there was a lot of holes for the Utah Jazz. Eric Gordon had some nice numbers at 17 points, 3 rebounds, double-double for Clint Capella. And then Chris Paul, this is the Chris Paul that we're starting to see now, where every now and then he can have one of those Chris Paul-esque games, but he's getting a bit older now, so 14 points, 7 assists. Just good, consistent numbers. And yeah, there was a lot of good consistency. Daniel House out there, he was playing some nice defense. So I was overall pretty impressed with the whole Rockets squad up and down, winning 122-90, of course. And then you look at the Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, 22 points, 12 rebounds for him. Now his plus minus, I believe, was the lowest of the team at negative 23. So yeah, while he did have the highest stat line, overall you can say he was probably outplayed, right? So just from a lot of different reasons. Donovan Mitchell, 7 for 18, shooting 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 turnovers, no assists, man. I know Donovan Mitchell is not the point guard, but I do feel like a lot of the great 2 guards in the NBA are guys that are able to get other teammates involved, because if you're going out there just with a scoring mentality and not getting other players involved, that makes things a lot easier from a defensive scheme on the other team, trying to lock you down, because they know you're not going to pass the ball, so they know he's got to get in position to stop you. Ricky Rubio, I thought actually played nice. I was not totally expecting him back for this series, but yeah, he came back and he was playing nice, so that's fine. But really nothing too, Nothing too crazy here. The rest of like the role players, Jay Crowder, Joe Ingles, Thabo Sefolosha, Royce O'Neal, all those guys just played bad, you know, and you're not going to beat the Houston Rockets unless everybody on your team is playing up to the maximum potential. So it's not going to happen. I feel like Kyle Korver probably should have got some more minutes out there. He did not. He only shot 3 free throws, guys. Like, this guy got to start launching a few more threes. I know he's getting older, and I know he's a defensive liability, but still, man. So that's it. As far as the Houston-Utah series goes, well, I see Houston probably winning both of their games at home. Now, I could see Utah grabbing a game or two on their home court, but as far as from Houston's standpoint, I think they're probably going to win that series. Now, just a quick update on my bracket and what it's looking like. So I did have, for these series, I do have Houston beating Utah 4-3. You know, it's still too early to tell. I got to see how Utah plays on their home court. I mean, I could still see that happening. Like, I'm not going to write off the team after one game. I did have OKC beating Portland 4-2. Might be a little wrong about that one. You know, Portland, I think a lot of people underestimated and slept on the Portland Trailblazers, man. It's just how it was. Everybody was. Everybody does every single year because we know that they're notorious for not always playing the best playoff basketball. I had the Bucks sweeping the Pistons. I still have that, especially Blake Griffin being out. And I had the Boston Celtics beating the Pacers 4-3. I think I might revert down to like 4-2 on that. I could still see the Pacers winning a few games out there just based off your effort and hustle. But yeah, man, that is my bracket. So hope you guys all enjoyed this. Give me your thoughts and comments on the entire action from the games last night. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.